how do we double the close rates of the clients that we work with? Often we do free consulting for our clients, free sales consulting, because by far the number one reason for churn is like, hey, how do we close these outbound leads? A lot of my clients have never done any outbound before, or even if they have done outbound, maybe they got leads, but they weren't able to close the leads. So the problem behind the problem is like, what do we do with leads when they come in? And when I audit sales calls, one of the things that I always notice is that the self is always coming through. So I'll tell my clients, it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter what you give me to listen to. I'm always going to know. Like, I have a coach who teaches like gymnastics rings and handstands and movement and all of these things. He's like, the students always try to hide behind. They're like, you didn't see my really good set. You just saw one of my bad sets. But he's like, I can look at them for 10 seconds and I know exactly where they're at. And it's the same thing with sales. So I want to talk about, what do I look for? When I was working for Client Ascension, teaching response handling, when I was teaching other salespeople, I've taught probably 500 salespeople in my career. What am I specifically looking for? Sales in general is a combination of principles. The principles manifest themselves as patterns, and the person's pattern of thinking and pattern of how they respond to situations is guided by their understanding of principles. What sale do I need to make first? What sale do I need to make second? What sale do I need to make third? There's the credibility sale. They have to trust me. Then they have to like the process, the general outline of the process. There's logical due diligence. How do I move them across the line? Do I know where I'm at? Do I know where they are? How do I command their attention? What's the best framing to do that? And when I listen to somebody, just by the way they speak, I can tell if they're internalizing things based on core principles that they have to build a relationship to. Every sales process is going to be unique, and you help them build those relationships because everyone sells differently. And then once the principles are established, they spontaneously create thousands of techniques, because even when you have the best script and the best offer in the world, it only works until something goes wrong. Once they understand where they're at in relation to sales principles, then they can always adapt, because what's going on, it's like a boxing match. The client doesn't stay in the same place. So script is like a kata. It's like a martial arts kata. I'm going to do this. 1, 1, 2. But what if they move? What if they grab your leg? What do you do then? But when you know the principles, you can spontaneously respond to all these different situations. What I'm trying to do is I take them and I beat the sales out of it. Because if it sounds like a sales call, if it looks like you're picking up a girl, I already know it's bad. What I do is I reorient them around basic principles. I'm like, here's where you're at, here's where they're at, here's what you got to do first, and here's 8 different ways to do it. But what's really going to work for you are these 3. And then when they get good at that, we go to the next step. And every call that I listen to, I can usually get rid of 50% of the bullshit. So after 3 or 4, they usually don't need me anymore. And I was coaching 2 clients in the last week. They both made their first sale within the last 48 hours. So it was really awesome. If you need help with, obviously, cold calling, cold email, LinkedIn, but more importantly, if you just want to understand, hey, how do I handle these leads where we're just strangers? How can I just close somebody who I've never spoken to before? I can really walk you through that and get you really good results. So if you need any of this, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.